Lev Vygotsky was a founder of what has come to be known as the social constructivist approach to learning. His theoretical framework proposed that social interaction plays a fundamental role in the development of cognition. Humans develop within a culture, within a society. This includes the culture of a family environment. A child's learning development occurs within this environment. Culture provides not only the what is learned, but also the how of learning. That is, they not only gain their knowledge, the what, from others, but they also gain what Vygotsky termed the tools of intellectual adaptation, or the processes of thinking. According to Vygotsky, learning occurs in the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. The zone is the difference between an individual's current level of development and his or her potential level of development. The gap can be crossed with the assistance and guidance of an adult or a more knowledgeable peer. Thus, learning depends on social interactions. While not a term used by Vygotsky, this assistance provided by others is now known as scaffolding. Initially, the adult or more knowledgeable other takes a dominant role in the learning. But, as with scaffolding surrounding a building, as the learner becomes more competent, the scaffolding must be removed, and the learner must ultimately take full control of their learning. Since peers are effective assistants in traversing the ZPD, best Vygotskian practice favors student groups of differing abilities. Language is one of the main methods of knowledge transmission in humans. It is a primary way in which knowledge is passed from one individual to another. One of Vygotsky's concepts examined the importance of language in the learning process. During this process, children use their own private language to direct themselves, often mimicking the assistance they've received from others. This self-talk, spoken out loud, helps guide them through their tasks as they work through problems. This private language is seen as an essential tool of intellectual adaptation and helps with the internalization of knowledge. As the child matures, private speech becomes quieter, eventually becoming silent. Vygotskian principles are demonstrated in many areas of the classroom, in curriculum, in instructional practices, and in assessment. Regarding the curriculum, it is important to realize that since children learn much through interaction, the curricula should be designed to emphasize interaction between learners and their learning tasks. Regarding instruction, it is important to realize that with appropriate adult help, children can often perform tasks that they are incapable of completing on their own. Scaffolding, where the adult continually adjusts the level of help in response to the child's level of performance, is an effective form of teaching. Scaffolding produces not only immediate results, but also instills the skills necessary for independent problem solving in the future. Finally, assessment methods must take into account the zone of proximal development. What children can do on their own is their level of actual development. What they can do with help is their level of potential development. One might be able to solve many more problems than the other. Assessment methods must target both the level of actual development and the level of potential development.
Jean Piaget was a Swiss-born psychologist who lived from 1896 to 1980. He believed that children think differently than adults, that changes in thinking are developmental processes that occur naturally as the brain develops. According to Piaget, children's thinking go through 4 developmental stages. Stage 1 is the sensory motor stage, and that occurs from birth to approximately 2 years of age. At this stage, knowledge is based on physical interactions and experience with the environment. Stage 2 is the preoperational stage, which occurs between the ages of approximately 2 and lasts till the ages of 6 or 7. Children develop language, memory, and imagination at this stage. They take part in imaginary play. Piaget considered children at this stage to be egocentric. They could not view things from another person's perspective. Stage 3, concrete operations, which develops between the ages of 7 to approximately 11 or 12 years of age. Children are able to manipulate symbols at this stage that are related to concrete objects. They are less egocentric and more aware of external events. The fourth stage is formal operations, and that develops around the ages of 11 or 12. At this stage, children can use symbols to represent abstract thoughts. Adaptation means adapting to the world around us through the processes of assimilation and accommodation. When a child encounters new information in their environment, they will take in the new information, and this is called assimilation. The child then modifies the existing mental schemes to include the new information, and this is called accommodation. Children need to strike a balance between assimilation and accommodation. They achieve this balance through a process called equilibration. As children move through the stages of cognitive development, it is important to maintain a balance between applying previous knowledge and changing structures to account for new knowledge. Equilibration allows children to move from one stage of thought to the next. Piaget's theory suggests that classrooms today should be places of active exploration through the use of inquiry-based learning, discovery learning, object-based learning, and/or problem-based learning. It also suggests that play is important. Children learn through play and through games. We need to design activities that are developmentally appropriate for the students in our classrooms. Social interaction is important to children's cognitive development. Children learn by interacting with each other. Some examples of relevant instructional strategies to foster interaction could be cooperative learning and peer teaching.
Bruner had 3 stages of knowledge representation: enactive, iconic, and symbolic. For enactive, it's based on hands-on experiences of physical objects together and with the consequences that happen after. Knowledge is represented through the stages. So you can notice how young children will go through the world touching or smelling objects such as flowers. However, this doesn't mean that this type of representation is only for babies or young children. This could also mean manipulative learning of objects, such as learning how to ride a bike or to play a musical instrument. For iconic, knowledge can now be represented using models and pictures. Learners know how to make mental images of their world. This can be seen in books full of brightly colored pictures that are teaching children. And finally, symbolic. Learners can think in abstract terms. So abstract terms and symbol systems can be used to represent knowledge, such as numbers, mathematical symbols, letters, and language. This is why most books in college do not have as many pictures compared to those used in elementary schools.
What draws these 3 theorists together? Jean Piaget, Lev Vygotsky, and Jerome Bruner. All were developmentalists, and as such were concerned with how humans develop during the course of life. In particular, all focused specifically on cognitive development during childhood. Developmentalists generally rejected the limitations of behaviorism in understanding human cognitive development. Although Piaget, Vygotsky, and Bruner all had different theories to explain how learning is mediated during childhood, all recognize that individuals must actively be involved in the building of their own knowledge. Whether each child must progress through invariant stages of development and accommodate new experiences into their existing schema, or whether cognitive development is not fixed, but varies due to cultural and social experiences, children must be active participants in the construction of their own knowledge. Thus are laid the foundations of constructivism.